What's up, everybody? And it is Friday afternoon, March 22nd, the end of the first week since we got the news last Friday about the NAR settlement, which is just, you know, been the news of the century in housing. It's on everybody's feed, it's on everybody's publication. And I personally am wired. I'm the Chief Innovation Officer of Trust Engine, and as a longtime entrepreneur, you know, innovation is where my head's always going. Like, oh, there's confusion. Oh, there's changes. Oh, there's new legislation. Like, how do we innovate? And that's my job here at Trust Engine. That's also a role that I play in the industry. I'm always trying to be the mortgage industry's Chief Innovation Officer. Like, that's just a self-proclaimed attitude that I have. And I have a kindred soul with the man that we're going to interview right now. Ron Stowers, this is the first time I've interviewed you on the channel, but I know you've watched a lot of this content. It's good to have you here.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. It's great to be here.
Yeah. So Ron is the Chief Strategic Officer of Homeowners Financial Group out of Scottsdale, Arizona. They're a great Trust Engine client, a great boutique IMB. They're doing a lot of great things in the markets they serve. They do a great job of serving the builder community. And they just do a great job of what I would call building out a modern tech stack. And I think a couple of things that really connect Ron and I as friends is that we were always both like, where is the puck going and how do we create an opportunity? And then we're also very, we love this industry. We have both grown up professionally in this industry. We love loan officers and we want to win. And let's face it, there's some radical changes happening, not only this NAR settlement, but with AI coming. AI is here. So Ron, before we start getting into the headline here, like how to turn this settlement into an opportunity, why don't you share a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your role?
Yeah, thank you, David. So I've been in the mortgage industry since 1999, grew up as a broker, loved being a broker, switched to a mortgage banker back in the refi heydays of 2001, and have been an independent mortgage maker since then. At Homeowners, I have the honor of serving as chief strategic officer. And what that means is that, like you, Dave, I got to help my company figure out where's the puck going, how do we get to it, how do we capitalize on the opportunity? So the proposed NAR settlement is a perfect, right up my bailiwick where, what can we do to capitalize on this opportunity?
Yeah, well, I know Ron and I took a walk together. He was in town. He's got a second house about an hour drive from me, and we took a sunrise walk. And I first of all, I do want to do a little testimonial for walk and talks as business meetings. They beat the heck out of the typical, hey, let's get on Zoom, or when I go to trade shows and events, I always try to have some walking meetings because one, you get to know the person better, you get to have a great human connection, and then you end up having more business dialogue than you would if it was just a typical business meeting. So little testimonial for walk and talks. Anything you want to add on that? Because I know you love walking meetings yourself.
No, I love walk and talks. You get kind of an expanded format. People loosen up. You kind of lose pretenses. You get your adrenaline flowing, those endorphins. And so you really can get some unguarded conversations where you have a lot of authenticity. And Dave, I really enjoyed our time doing our walk and talk last week, although I'm not too sure about the green eggs.
Green eggs. Oh yeah, we went to breakfast. Green eggs were killer. But by the way, you said I can't remember what you said. You get a deeper. I can't remember the word you get, but you also get more creative. Like
That's right.
when you're doing a walk and talk, there is a better emotional connection. It's almost like if you had a business with me until you've had a meal with someone, there's a level of connection you don't have. And I do believe a walk and talk, it really, in some ways, it's an even better connection than having a meal with someone. So just make a note, anyone listening to this, it's time for walk and talks. If you're a loan officer, find a realtor that wants to go out and have a walk and talk. Make sure you're doing masterminds here in this channel. I am trying to, usually I do like 3-ish interviews a week, and I publish in our YouTube channel 3-4 times. this week, I'm almost averaging 2 a day just because I think it's time for default aggressive. We need to get out there. We need to talk to people. We need to mastermind with people. So that's another thing. I hope all executives listen to this. That was one of my goals with interviewing Ron is like, I think Ron's doing a lot of the great things he should be doing as a C-suite executive. And I want to encourage other C-suite executives to kind of follow some of the path that you're doing, Ron. So walk us through. I don't think either one of us need to break down the news because Housing Wire and a lot of other publications have done that. But how do you think you are going to go about figuring out the path to innovation here?
Yeah, thank you, Dave. And first, dude, you've been killing it this week. You've stepped into the moment. You have brought such good content. I've loved your podcast. The one with Carrie Scholl was unbelievable. Of course, Sean Herrera is always fantastic. You kicked off the week with your Facebook post. I mean, I know you were busy all weekend talking to, industry experts, gaining information. Dude, I really appreciate how much you're giving back to the industry right now.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was an honor. And then, I mean, by the way, check this out, Ron. This blows my mind. So I've done three, I've done a few more. I just haven't published them yet. I created a playlist in the YouTube channel called the NAR Settlement Playlist. This interview will be in this playlist. But look at the views on Jason Mitchell. 14. I mean, this thing is just blown up and gone viral, and we haven't even promoted it. And then the interview with Carrie, guys, I mean, she is a very senior real estate expert in the Washington, D.C. market. And I felt like she just laid out the roadmap of the future. And of course, Sean did that. But by the way, Ron, I'm going to be doing, Sean is doing his tiny event here in town. And I'm going to be taking the people in his workshop out for a walk and talk tomorrow at Crystal Cove. So that should be fun.
That'll be awesome. Yeah, Dave. So I'm going to get back to your question. You said something that, gosh, everybody, we've had a week, we've had a chance to digest the news, and everybody's kind of familiar with where we're at. And I don't know if I agree with that. I think there's a lot of misinformation out in the industry. And I think one of the ways we start bringing value is that we study this, we learn the facts, and that we bring that truth to our referral partners, to our real estate agents. And they're not necessarily getting all the facts. And one of the things we have to remember is that, go back 20 years, a real estate agent typically had a 60-40 split or a 50-50 split. And for that lower split, their brokers poured into them, they trained them, they supported them. The industry's evolved to where now agent might have a 90-10 split and the broker doesn't necessarily support them. They say, gosh, we're running so thin on margins, you're kind of on your own. And so we can't assume that agents are getting great information, and we need to make sure that we're learning it and we're bringing it to the market. That's the first piece of value, being a person of influence, having truth. So Dave, I'm not sure if everybody actually understands. There's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of misinformation and misreporting about the lawsuit. If it's okay, I think the first thing, and Dave, I'm going to kind of piggyback off what you said in your Monday Facebook post, where you really called for empathy and compassion. That's the first thing. A lot of us, we become jaded in how we look at our real estate agents. And when I say jaded, we think, gosh, do real estate agents earn their commission? Do they earn 3%? And sometimes through that jadedness, that we think about the lowest common denominator about whether they earn their commission or not. And I would encourage everybody, think about the highest common denominator, right? Think about Carrie Scholl when she talks about how her buyer's agents knock on doors and source listings that off market and bring opportunity to their clients. All the things that she does are well worth 3%. They're worth more than that. And so have kindness when you think about agents, and that empathy and that compassion. And same thing with NAR. If you look at all the lawsuits, the 22 lawsuits, there's been 14 of them or have been filed in the last 4 months. When I look at all those lawsuits, I feel their pain, man. I mean, how can you operate like that? And all this risk, and you're losing members and you're losing brokerages. we have to help them. They're our brothers and sisters in this industry. We share the same client. So make sure you get good information and take it to your real estate partners. Now, if it's all right, I want to boil down this proposed settlement to two simple things. And it's important because once we understand the two basic concepts that are going to move our cheese, then we can build value propositions. Before I do that, we got to understand that this is a proposed settlement. Now, why the judge of the Seitzer Burnett case has signaled he's going to clearly, he's most likely going to approve almost any settlement. There's another player out there that has going to have huge influence, and that's the DOJ. The DOJ is against cooperative commissions. They will file a brief with the court. We don't know what will happen. So all we talk about is a lot of supposition. So just know that. Let's not buy into the hysteria. We don't know everything that's going to happen, but that doesn't mean we can't start skating to the puck. Now,
real quick, Ron, while you're breaking this down, do you think it's safe to assume at this point, based off what we do know, that the buyer agent of the future is going to have a really good presentation for the buyers? They're going to have to negotiate their compensation, and they're going to have to get a signed agreement. Like, those are three things that are not commonplace in the market today, but will be commonplace in the market on the other side of this. Do you align with that?
I 100% align with that.
Okay, cool.
100%. And Dave, when I say let's look at, there was quite with the proposed settlement, there's not only the dollar settlement, but there is the concessions that NAR is making, the changes that they're going to concede to. And if you look at all the changes, there's really two big ones we need to pay attention to. The first one is this cooperative commission. And you hear so much about that, and you hear the noise is, gosh, buyers are going to have to pay for the buyer's commission out of pocket. Well, that's not 100% true, because what the settlement says is that listing agents can no longer list that cooperative commission in MLS. It doesn't mean it can't exist. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen. What it means is it can't be marketed in the MLS. And so what I expect is listing agents will figure out ways to advertise it through different mediums, whether through property flyers or through broker events or through other listing services or community boards, online boards. They're going to be able to communicate that they're offering a cooperative commission. So to that, there's a little bit of move my cheese and a lot of opportunities for us, which I'll talk about in a second. The second part, which is a much bigger move my cheese, Dave, is what you said, is that for really the first time, most buyer's agents are going to have to push a piece of paper across the desk and get a broker buyer agreement that explicitly states their fees and who pays it. Now, agents aren't used to doing this, right? And they're really getting kind of askew on this. And this is where we can help them too, because we've had to do this as lenders for the longest time. We need to come up alongside our real estate partners. We need to talk to them about how to establish value, how to communicate value, and how to calibrate that value to what your home buyer is willing to pay. And we're experts at that, right? And we need to help them with their words, their scripts, their selling skills. Because remember, we have to expect that their broker is not giving that to them. Our sales force is well trained on that. Let's go give that to our agents. So that's a big move your cheese, Dave, just like you said.
And real quick, I want to put a pin in that real quick, because I just want to make sure everyone heard this. And I mean, this is not a news flash for a lot of elite people in the mortgage industry, but being a leader to realtors. I mean, the point Ron made earlier, where most real estate companies, they don't have quote unquote sales managers, and they're not necessarily getting the truth. I mean, some of them are in masterminds and they have coaches, but most of them, the kind of, I'll tell you right now, the kind of leadership, anyone that tunes into the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel, they don't get this kind of leadership. They don't have someone like us netting it out. And I also, not to brag, but when I create content, I am interviewing the best of the best people that are in the street. They're doing it, and how are you winning in this market? Whereas a lot of other content sources, it's a little bit of news, it's a little bit of assumptions. It's I try very hard not to ever post anything that has any scent of clickbait. If you look at the way that we put content out there in the market, we always deliver on the topic. It's you got to make it a little sensational, but it's not clickbait. So they don't have that unless you do have that. So use this content to bring the truth and to be a leader. You know, and by the way, that was another thing that came from Carrie. The three things I called out earlier, I think it's safe to assume buyer agents need to do that. And then Carrie, in her interview, she talked about, you know, I'm a community leader. And I think it's safe to assume going forward that if you're a real estate agent and you have positioned yourself the way you use social media, you know, you're involved in nonprofits in your local community, you are looked at as a local community leader, that's going to really play, it's going to be even more important going forward.
Yeah, Dave, that I agree with that completely. Can we take a minute and just look at the cooperative commissions? Talk
Yeah,
about
let's
it for a
go.
second.
Yeah.
So this is awesome for us as loan officers. This is one of our times to just grab opportunity, but we have to understand what it means. And here's something that's being, in my opinion, really misreported. The headline that says that it's going to cost more for home buyers to buy a home is completely false, right? Because what the lawsuit says is that the listing agent can no longer advertise in the MLS that they're going to share a commission with the buyer's agent. And therefore, the byproduct might be that some buyers may have to come with that fee out of pocket. Regardless of how that fee is paid, nobody's arguing it's going to go up. The costs aren't going up. In fact, most analysts argue that commissions, there'll be downward pressure on commissions as real estate agents discover how to sell their value and how to fortify the value and add values, but there'll be a dip in the commission. So first, we have to completely dispel that myth that the cost is going up. What is changing is cash to close for some borrowers. And for that, we're the experts. We are perfectly positioned to solve that problem. And we need to meet the moment, right, by understanding our guidelines, the different down payment options, cash to close, you know, different high LTV, how we use credits, you know, when we use a cooperative commission. Like, we need to be masters of all these things so that when a real estate agent refers as a borrower, we with confidence can get back to that real estate agent and says, here's what the borrower qualifies for, here's what they have an appetite for, this is what you're going to require to get them into a house, right? Like, remove the, like, we'll solve it for you, give it to us. Because that's right, that's right up our, you know, that's our mojo, cash to close, man. I'll solve it for you all day long. And it doesn't have to be such this emotional, oh my gosh, you know. Instead, like with every decision, we're going to lead the borrower to the best decision to help them achieve the American dream and to build wealth through, you know, real estate.
Ron, what are your thoughts? I mean, after hearing that, first of all, I agree with it. And it came out in my interview with Sean Herrero. Also, I interviewed someone today in our mastermind by the name of Andy Zeman. And both of them, the way they're using the mortgage coach is to show different options and to show the consumer different strategies to address, you know, the real estate compensation. So I personally think this is a massive competitive advantage for a mortgage coach versus a loan officer. In fact, I've had a number of leaders that have mortgage coach already where, you know, I'm even hearing things like, maybe it's time to start mandating a total cost analysis, like because it's going to create such a value. And that's the other thing. Buyer's agents are going to need presentations. So a mortgage coach rent versus own, a mortgage coach TCA, how to pay for my
Down payment
commission.
options.
Like, don't you feel like this is going to be a big win for the mortgage coach?
It's a huge win for mortgage coaches and for mortgage coach. I mean, just right away, the TCAs were just doing down payment options. Right there is meeting the moment, right? And it's taking the emotion away from the home buyers and taking that stress off the shoulders of our real estate partners. Now, Dave, I cannot wait to talk about value and technology in a second.
Anytime you're ready. Those are my two favorite subject.
Yeah, absolutely. But so wrapping up cooperative commissions, the big, opportunity we have is solving cash to close, educating, real estate agents, home buyers on cash to close options. We have a full toolbox of options to solve it for them. Let's just get ahead of that and get really versed. Now, in that, we need to understand our loan programs. We need to understand, we'll probably have to look forward towards maybe some more DPA, participation, but be experts and get out and talk about it. Now's the time to be doing, doing lunch and learns, doing home buyer seminars, doing presentations in front of your agents. This is a great opportunity.
No, go ahead. Unless I had something to say, but I didn't want to cut you off.
Thanks. You know what I want to get into, Dave? I want to get into the next big opportunity. So real estate agents are, for the first time, we're going to have to say, gosh, here's what I get paid, and here's how you need to pay me, right? And they're not used to that. They're not used to they're not used to that. I'm going to give you a kind of example. In the world where the buyer's agent was somewhat hidden inside of the seller paying the listing agent a commission and the listing agent sharing that commission with the buyer. A lot of times home buyers weren't just absolutely aware of exactly how much your agent was getting paid or who was paying them, right? And so the competition or the value prop for one agent wasn't, you should pay me. It was, I'm better than the rest of the agents. I'm an expert in the market. I have influence, right? You should use me because I'm better. Well, this is all turned on its ear. Today, you don't, agent, or after the settlement, the agent won't be able to argue, I'm simply better than my competition. They have to argue, here's my fee. Here's why you should pay me. Here's why I'm invaluable to you. That's different. Defending how much you're charging is different than trying to get them to select you. It's a little bit different. And our agents don't have that muscle yet. And so we really need to get together with them. And like I said, work with their words, build their value propositions and their sales skills. And sometimes they don't know. But in the meantime, and I'm super passionate about this, in the meantime, we need to lend our value to our agent partners. While they try to build their value, we use ours. Dave, like you said, be a mortgage coach. Here's all the tools I bring to you from MortgageCoach. All those those technology services where we've been trying to become more and more valuable. Well, now our agents can piggyback off that value, delivering it to their home buyers and therefore, differentiating themselves. And that's step one, right? Sharpen the sword, go lead with value. Let your agents jump on your back and go, hey, I do all these things. Even though you're the one doing it, you're showing them a path forward on how to win and how to differentiate. Dave, you got thoughts on that?
Yeah, I do. I want to show on my screen our 10X page, which, this was designed for producing branch managers, but, that means it's just as valuable for a loan. It's valuable for a loan officer because a producing branch manager, and it's also a tool for leaders and managers. And with this NAR reform, like all of these trainings, how to win with realtors, like everything here has never been more important. When you think of learning like how to do a rent versus own, how to do should I wait or buy now, how to pay for the buyer's agent's commission, total cost analysis. Like we do live training every day of the week. So, every Wednesday and Thursday, we will be training loan officers at scale, all of the total cost analysis that are most essential to help a buyer's agent. So train. You do not need to wait to let this thing play out. It's safe to assume that being an advisor is going to be more valuable. It's safe to assume that you're going to have to show the buyer's agent is going to have a presentation, and you want to be part of that presentation. If you're a loan officer and you don't want to just be like, oh, this is my loan officer who closes loans on time and pre-qualifies. You want like, oh, this is my loan officer that will show you the value of homeownership over time. And this is my loan officer that will show you different options as to how to fund our compensation in the most effective and efficient way possible.
Yeah, Dave, this is where the cheese moved in our favor. And we've been preaching for years that agents should refer us as an extension of their value. The reason why I'm a real estate agent, the reason why you're paying me my commission for all those things we listed, plus I refer you to the best in the business. I refer you to the best loan officer, escrow title, home warranty, whatever it happens to be. Like, they should be referring with gusto as a value prop. Well, now it's absolutely essential. And then if we entice them with driving an immense amount of value to them from us, that's a game changer. And that's where, change equals opportunity. If it's all right, I wouldn't mind just kind of, sharing what I think are some long-term strategies to win, given the changes that we're
No, I don't think we want long-term strategies to win. Joking. Yes, we would love some long-term strategies to win. Let's go.
Yeah, I think first and probably most important, and the environment has been evolving this way for some time. But loan officers need to get to the top of the funnel, right? The person at the top of the funnel is the most important and earns the most money. If you think about it, a self-source loan officer earns roughly twice the commission of a company source loan officer. It's no different than with our referral partners. So we have to start to master that. We need to get our top of the funnel strategies that work. And there's a bunch of strategies. And when we say direct consumer, all that means is that we're talking directly to a potential home buyer. We're not waiting for it to come through a real estate agent down the funnel to us. And we can do all sorts of stuff that can go attract, consumers directly, whether it's doing these home buyer seminars, whether it's your online presence, social media, podcasts. Now, the number one thing to get consumer direct is your database. Your database is the most valuable thing you have. And so the next thing is, we need to become ninjas at databases. And when I say ninjas, you go, gosh, what the heck does that mean? I'm going to just give you a couple of things. One, we need to be driving new contacts into our database. Do you have a contact strategy, how you're going to add 10, 15, 20, whatever it is, contacts a week, right? A contact aggregation. Are you going out there and are you applying to be somebody's, mortgage advisor, regardless of whether you did their loan or not? Are you adding those contacts? And then once we get contacts and we build our contacts, what's our engagement strategy? And is that driven by giving value to those people that are in our database, and so that they recognize us as someone they want to use for their mortgage? And then Dave, to what your company does great with BIP, what kind of intelligence are we looking at our database to alert us when our borrowers or when our contacts are going to need a mortgage or look at real estate? How can we get them, Dave, as you would say, how do we get them speed to need versus speed to lead? Like, we should know them. And then once we can identify those opportunities, how are we at converting them? And so those are the things we have to really, really be good at. That is the best consumer direct tool we have. And here's the thing, our real estate partners aren't good at this. So ask to adopt their data, show them how you're a database ninja, and then ask to adopt their database. Say, if you give me your database, here are the things I'm going to do. Here are the results that we should expect, right? And that adds that much more value. And it, once again, takes something off their plate when they're completely bewildered. Dave, I'm imagining you probably have a comment.
Yeah, I have just a couple comments there for sure. So I want to walk everybody through just a sequence really quick that I think is very valuable. Like when he says speed to need, how do we win in the future? First of all, going forward in the mortgage industry, speed to lead is not enough. Like, it's not enough to be there first. Number two, delivering price and pre-approval, it's not enough going forward. You need to deliver more education and more value. Speed to need, like how, and I love what you said, not only did this kind of move the needle in the favor of the mortgage coach because they need to be advisors, but to leverage your database. I've always said, make your database your number one priority, because if you do that, and by the way, this is not a long-term strategy. This is a loan now strategy. Like if your database looks like this, that's not how you get to the needs of the consumer first. If you have triggers, which is what one of our products does, Sales Boomerang, that's good. But by the way, this is not, getting ahead of it. Like, these people they're running a credit report. They're cheating on you. This person already listed their home. again, they're good. You should have these. But I'm talking about getting to the consumer in the sweet spot before they are in the market, making sure that you really are anticipating the needs of the consumer, and and you're able to predict, like, oh, this looks like a family that looks like the profile that they would be moving down by using lifestyle data, demographic data, credit data, or oh, this looks like a move up buyer. Oh, there's a first time home buyer here. And then, at Mortgage Coach, we're very well known for, what we call our total cost analysis, but let's automate an email. Like the minute we know that's happening, let's do a data-driven email. And then, this is my favorite thing. This is our new app. And actually, I know you know about this, Ron, because I've shown it to you before, but I don't know if you've seen the most updated look and feel. But this is coming out like in 2 weeks, where, a loan officer that uses our platform in their mobile phone will literally have who are the 1% of their database that are in the money, most likely to buy, sell, refinance a home. If the borrower clicked on that automated email, like if this email went out and they clicked on it, those will go to the top. And then this is the part, Ron, tell me what your thoughts are on it. That when you click into this, not only do you have all the data in the snapshot, not only can you email, text, or call, but you've got a script. You got a call script, you got a text script. You could actually copy that and text it. What are your thoughts about the kind of the
Yeah.
scripting in the platform?
Yeah, Dave, this looks great. This is all next level. And the thing that I would tell everybody, I mean, obviously it's not for me, but this isn't a sales pitch. The who the cheese for us is we need to get better. We need to be more valuable. We need to be more valuable for agents and our home buyers. And where we may have been casual about using some of these technologies, using some of these value adds, we can't afford to be casual about just being all out crazy zealous about being as valuable as possible. As you hear the top performers in the market, they all embrace technology, they're all master it, they drive it for value. And sometimes we go, gosh, that looks nice, but that's just not for me. That's not how I do business. Well, that's how we have to do business. We have to get rid of our limiting beliefs and just build immense value. Don't let yourself off the hook. Learn it, master it, give it away. It will drive your business. Dave, I got a couple more. I'm sure we're about out of time. I got a couple more just
No,
things we
go
talked
ahead and
about.
unload. I do want to, before we run out of time, I want to talk a little bit about training your loan officers, the kind of leadership that someone like you should be bringing to your sales force at this time. But yeah, keep going with those and then save time for that topic.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Dave. So, we talked about you got to get direct consumer strategies. You got to get top of the funnel. Yeah, and chief among those is being a ninja with your database. You got to master these different technologies. These MarTech value adds. There's tons of them out there. Master them. They make you efficient. They're low cost, so it delivers a lot of value. Most likely in the future, we're going to have to diversify our referral sources. A segment of our best referral source, buyer's agent, is gonna that population is going to shrink, and agents continue to have less and less influence with home buyers and home sellers. And so we're going to have to not only go find the consumer, but we're going to have to find other sources of business, whether it's B2B or it's affinity partners or it's company benefits, whatever it is. Start considering expanding your portfolio of who your referral sources are. And then the last thing I would really say, we could
Whoa,
keep
whoa, whoa,
adding.
whoa. Well, hey, I get to put an exclamation mark on that.
Yeah, please.
Uh, Guys, while I do think this is a catalyst to double down on that, I've always said you need to make your database your number one priority. And two, you need to be the captain of the wealth team. And the captain of the wealth team absolutely has great partnerships with real estate agents, but the captain of the wealth team also has great relationships with financial planners and CPAs and people that surround a family to achieve the American dream. And the American dream is not just home ownership, it's home ownership. So it needs for most people in America, that means they need a loan officer, means they need a realtor. But true financial freedom or true dream is home ownership with financial freedom. CPA, financial planner, other local advisors. So I don't know. I just can't emphasize enough that that's something that I hope this pours gas on that opportunity for everyone. And you don't take your eye off the agent. They are still the alpha partner. We need to love on them. We need to help them win. But you should have been diversifying 10 years ago. And, I do a lot of interviews. Wally Elderberry is one of my favorite interviews in terms of what a great job he's done diversifying, his business. So just wanted to add to that.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Dave. I'll wrap up on these long-term strategies, which to your point are really short-term strategies. And I would just say supercharge your value propositions. Make sure that you're overwhelmingly valuable, that you give far more than your clients or your real estate agent partners expect. And there's a few things I think we got to make sure we're really good at. And as I said, you have to be the master of cash to close. You have to be, the holder of the solutions. You have to be, the calming voice in a transaction. There are solutions, even if it's the most disadvantaged person that's being affected by these lawsuits, which is probably a VA buyer who's not allowed to directly pay a real estate agent commissions. And in any way, directly or indirectly, we're going to have to really work how to serve that home buyer, but we're going to have solutions. And so just be a master of cash to close. As you look at some of the things that you perfect, think of niches to riches. And niches to riches could be loan product, it could be DPAs, it could be product type, it could be a segment of our business like doctor loans, whatever it is. Think niches to riches. And a great niche right now might be how do you, the cash to close, high LTV loans, right? You need to expand your product offering because borrowers are going to need a more diversified product. For those of us that would never do a DPA, my thought here is that one of the things, Dave, we hear all the time, especially from real estate agents, that hey, gosh, HUD, the GSEs have to come to our aid. They have to solve this problem. Now we don't know what's going to happen, but my thought is on this: if two giant government agencies have been really after NAR and not supporting this cooperative commission, meaning FTC and the DOJ, if they've been on a campaign against NAR for the last 5 or 10 years, why would a different segment of the federal government then come to try to reverse that impact? I just don't think it's going to happen. Now, I could be totally wrong because we're all guessing, but I'm not going to count on HUD or the GSEs to try to undermine the DOJ and the FTC. I could be totally wrong. I'm guessing. However, if I was going to lobby somebody, I would lobby my local bond agencies, my DPAs, my community housing works, because they're going to be super sensitive to that borrower that needs that help. And they're not necessarily going to be influenced by the federal government. And so pay attention to where DPAs are going, pay attention to where your community works, all those things, because they may offer solutions. That's just part of us staying super informed. I think, Dave, I completely agree with you. We have to just be zealously focused on first-time home buyers, first-time move-up buyers. As you say, Dave, if you can solve the first-time home buyer equation, if you can cater to them, if you can win in that pool, you can win with any borrower. So super focus on that. Make sure you have outreach to them, that you have value to them. Bring your agent along on that journey. You'll both win from it. And then, Dave, as you say all the time, we got to get higher quality, more valuable advisory service where we're not just a commodity. We're changing people's lives. So I think that's our long-term strategy, to build value, to let our agents use the value. And now is the best time to get started if you haven't already.
Yeah, and playing off of there's riches and niches strategy, which I completely align in, is that literally every loan officer, every realtor in America needs to have a really compelling first-time home buyer niche. You need to be able to, I specialize in first-time home buyers, and then show people what you do, how you do it. Thank you for your generous donations in First Home IQ. Check out First Home IQ. Not only is it a great just content platform for educational content for first-time homebuyers that will actually help you sell more homes and do more loans, but it's a 501(c) nonprofit that is creating content for Gen Z and the next generation to help them get into home ownership. So check that out if you're a realtor or loan officer. It's basically your first time home buyer content platform. And so check that out.
Dave, let me just say, I look at it more. I love First Home IQ. I think you guys are doing a great job, but I look at it selfishly. First Home IQ is a vehicle to get in front of the consumer. It is a consumer direct vehicle, right? And
Yeah.
so if you go and you teach home ownership, you teach financial literacy, and you go in front of whatever happens to be high schools or colleges or churches, whatever it is, that's consumer direct. And then you get those people that are in those classes and you put them into your database to nurture. Someday they're going to be a home buyer, right? So you're becoming a database ninja. It is in complete alignment with what we're trying to achieve. That's why I really love promoting First Home IQ, and you guys have done a great job with it.
Yeah, no, thank you. Kristen Messerly has done a great job with that. I helped ideaize it and everything, but Kristen is just killing it with that platform. Check it out. It's got to make sure everyone takes the First Home IQ quiz. We'll put a link down below. It's just a 10-minute, 20-question quiz. People in the industry usually get 90 to 100%. Gen Z averages around 57%, and people are all in between. So take the quiz, share it with folks. Go to trustengine.com/10x. That is a training resource so that you can turn your loan officers into mortgage coaches. If you're an executive and you want to learn more about our borrower intelligence platform in the Trust Engine mobile app that we have created for loan officers, go to our website, get a demo. Ron, before we run completely out of time, I think we gave everybody great content. Like whether you're an executive pouring into your team, like you were just the mortgage industry's chief strategic officer. You gave them some great talking points for their presentation. But what is your communication plan for your sales force? I mean, you've got a lot of loan officers. A lot of them already use MortgageCoach, but let's face it, you want more of them to use MortgageCoach, and there's other things. So what is your communication plan, and what are you doing to bring clarity, confidence, and a competitive advantage to your sales force? If you don't mind sharing anything proprietary, I'm not asking you for, but just anything you're willing to share.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. I would say just three things here. First, if you're an owner or a leader of your company, make sure that you're providing a valuable suite of MarTech tools. Make sure that your company is promoting value through those tools. And then the strategy behind that is how do you get higher adoption? And as Dave would say, you got to be data driven. Like you got to look at your adoption reports all the time. You got to be asking your loan officers who are not adopting technology why. You have to be removing barriers for them, and you have to constantly, pound on the drum of why it's critical for them to learn those skills and how to use them. You can't give up on the trainings. Dave, we engage with MortgageCoach training team all the time. We do specialized training, trying to incent people to learn. So first thing, really focus on your MAR stack. Is it available? Is it valuable? What's your adoption rates? How do you raise the adoption rate, right? Second thing I think that is really important is that you become a microphone of fact and of truth, and that your company supports a suite of marketing products that your loan officer can take to market to transfer that same knowledge, whether you're creating lunch and learns and home buyer seminars, that your company is driving those PowerPoints, those marketing pieces, and that you're training heavily on it and scripting your loan officers so they can go be successful and confident in the marketplace. Those are two super, super important things for us to do. We also have to pay attention as leaders is, can we innovate product? Can we find solutions out there? Maybe there's a product that already exists that we haven't paid attention to that we can expand, the guidelines that fit the moment, can we innovate, and then of course, we have to be just super positive about the opportunity that faces us. We need to cheerlead for our loan officers, for them to go cheerlead for real estate agents, because this really is a wonderful opportunity for us to all gain market share, to be important, to anchor in with our key referral partners. Those are some of the things. I had a third thing. I forgot what it was, Dave.
Yeah, I have one thing I want to just kind of play off that. He mentioned you got to be data driven. So last year I was at a trade show and Ron and I had a breakfast meeting, and the night before that meeting, he sent me an email and it, like, hey, here's what's good. And it, he gave some feedback of topics that, they weren't bad, but they were things that we could do better at. But he was data driven. He's like, hey, I've done an analysis of the loan officers that use Mortgage Coach versus those that don't. He knew the conversion benefit of a Mortgage Coach. He knew the conversion difference between his loan officers. Um, Guys, I did an interview with Brian Hale yesterday that will hit YouTube. Might already be on our YouTube channel. If it's
I
not
think I got
here,
notice already.
what's that?
I think I got notice that it's up now.
Okay, I think it just went. I interviewed Brian a week ago with my monthly, update with Brian, and someone had asked, "Oh, I'd love to hear Brian's thoughts on the new profitability report from the NAR." And it wasn't good. Like Monday, we found out. Well, we didn't find out. We all knew that Q4 was horrible and that it was not profitable. But it got formalized, and it gave a broad industry perspective. And guys, if you train your loan officers to use your tech, I know the value of Mortgage Coach specifically, like it's at least 6 basis points in less conversions. And we've had lenders up to 60 basis points in savings. And typically we see a 9 to 12% improvement in conversion. So think about that. If you could just get your loan officers to use your technology, follow your best practices, many of you are profitable. Like, there's a lot we can't control, like rates, the Fed, NAR settlement, but can we control how our loan officers use our tech? We can't absolutely control it, but we can have massive influence. I have like Daniel Saw, my interview with Daniel Saw, where he shows how he trains his loan officer, how he sets expectations with loan officers, and they use his tech because of the training and the leadership. Any closing thoughts, brother?
Well, I want to just comment on what you just said, and Dave, I appreciate your time. I had contacted you and I knew we were going to be at the same, event. And so I said, can we get together for breakfast? And I sent you an email with our numbers, but the purpose of my email was, hey, I don't think we're performing well with Mortgage Coach. I'd like to get together with you and have you walk me through what we can do better, because we have exceptional loan officers and we should be doing better with your product. That was really my reach out to you. And the data was just so that you had a basis on how to help me. And that aligns with what I'm saying, where we got to make sure we have a valuable MarTech stack and that we're raising adoption, raising skill set on it so that we can get the value, because it's a big expense, not necessarily Mortgage Coach, but whatever the total MarTech stack is. We have to optimize that, and our loan officers desperately need the value to take into the marketplace. And so, Dave, I appreciate you when you got together and took that feedback, and then your team started to lean into how we could possibly do better with your product.
Yeah, no, and your team is great. We love working with you guys. And you guys, again, when we met, could you do better? Have we done better? Yes. But I would say, when you look at the number of your loan officers that use Mortgage Coach, I mean, it's a pretty good percent. I want to say it's like over 50% of your loan officers are adopting it, and that's pretty darn good at scale.
And we're getting better every day.
And getting better every day. Well, hey, Ron, I love our friendship. I love our walk and talks. Thank you for, coming in and sharing for other C-suite executives. For any loan officer that listens to this is a good one to forward to your head of production, to your regional manager, the CEO. Would love to get more executives listening to this conversation, because I do believe what Ron is sharing would be helpful to a lot of C-suite executives. And then just a reminder as we close out, guys, it's time to mastermind, connect. My message on Monday morning last week was default aggressive. Make sure you're meeting with every realtor. I've got another morning message coming out this Monday, something I'm doing on LinkedIn. I said I was just going to do it every week this month, but I think I'm not going to commit to it forever, but I am going to commit to it again next month. Every Monday on LinkedIn, it'll be, hey, producing branch managers. And, I'm kind of taking it upon myself to be the industry's chief innovation officer and to be the industry's sales leader for producing branch managers. So tune in, check me out on LinkedIn, and then also follow Ron on LinkedIn. He's a wealth of information. He puts a lot of time into reading, understanding what's happening, orienting, making decisions, and at the end of the day, committed to create to turning this into a competitive advantage and turning this into innovation. So thank you, my brother.
Yeah, thank you, David. It's been great. It's a pleasure to talk to the mortgage coach community. So
Yeah,
thanks.
well, thank you for doing it. And anyone watching this, if you haven't already given this a like it, share it with your mortgage friends. If you have any comments or questions, put those down below in comments. Take care, everybody.